All right. So what one can be, one must be. Abraham Maslow. And I don't know when I heard it, but when I did, I remember thinking, freaking story of my life, all right? Because in examining the difference between where you're at and where your infinite potential is, the gap can completely be motivating, it can be inspiring, or it can totally freaking trigger anxiety. It can trigger doubt. That gap can even trigger shame that you didn't even reach this potential self by now. It's the difference between seeing a life coach and seeing a therapist. And what I'm talking about today is has nothing to do with a coaching program or a therapy program. I'm not trying to sell to coaches today, or I'm not trying to sell anything, actually. So by the way, the difference between the two are huge. My mentor described it to me as, if you approach a locked fence, a therapist helps you understand why it's locked. A coach helps you figure out how to get to the other side. Does that make any sense? I think it's a nice little metaphor between traditional psychotherapy and positive psychology. Psychotherapy, a deficits-based model, where positive psychology is an assets-based model. This is where we bring in the joy revolution. Regardless of whether you want to figure out why barriers exist or how to get through them, using Maslow's perspective, that you see what's on the other side. I'll tell you this. Once you get clarity on what you can be, you totally become unsettled, dude, in your current place, and you strive for that actualization, the actualization of that gap to become a reality. Now, here's the thing. There's a danger in thinking that once you see a vision, you should take massive action. Everyone's talking about massive action, right? Why? Well, because completely unbridled action can lead to being stuck on a hedonic treadmill. You're taking mad action, but you're staying in the same place. I'm like running in the same place right now, right? Because in a culture of other chasers on the hedonic treadmill, where rat racing, keeping up with the Joneses, and settling for mediocrity becomes the status quo, it's not a good thing. It is not a good thing. Or you may lead a movement, but if you create it out of anger and hostility, you'll never truly become fulfilled. There's the idea that pursuing what one must be, pursuing the ideal self, is left to the outliers, the rebels, the mavericks, and the ostensible iconoclasts. Or what's definitely in vogue is that this pursuit of what one must be, the pursuit of the ideal self, or dare I say, this pursuit of happiness, is for those with the privilege and time and resources to afford self-help courses. The result being that happiness is left for the rich. The rest are left to struggle. Do you guys feel what I'm picking, or you guys feel what I'm throwing down? Let me tell you about Henry David Thoreau. He puts it this way: the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation. What is called resignation is confirmed desperation. And from the desperate city, you go into the desperate country and have to console yourself with the bravery of minks and muskrats. A stereotyped but unconscious despair is concealed. It's suppressed, even under what are called the games and amusements of mankind. There is no play in them, for this comes after work. But it is characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things. So I want to tell you a story. It's about April, all right? So I'm going to tell you about April. April will come home from work tonight, and she'll escape to the shower to relax, okay? And the thing is, she won't relax. She'll be crippled in the shower about making any significant move in her life. in her mind. Another day, another opportunity lost, she'll say to herself. And again, she'll be so lost in the moment that she won't even notice that the hot water has become ice cold. Her spouse will come in and check on her and ask if everything's okay. Yeah, everything's fine. April doesn't even know how to articulate the numbness and the emptiness. She doesn't want to be a burden on her spouse, as she's been known as being the go-to person at home, in work, in social circles. But she's there in the shower asking, there's got to be something more to life than this. There's got to be something more for her. So this is the deal. Tonight, April will be hosting a small little neighborhood dinner. April will put on the mask that everything is great. And when everyone leaves and the spouse and the little one goes to bed, she'll take off that mask of being great. And she won't go to bed. April won't go to bed. You see, this is when the inner gremlins will seem to be the loudest. She'll think about the dreams that she journaled at such a young age, making a serious dent in the world and doing things with such ease, doing things with levity, the things that she dreamt of when she was younger. And now she feels nothing but shame of having to show that show what she's become if she ever had to face her younger self. She's ashamed to face her younger self. April sighs. She wishes that she had half the moxie as her younger self. She makes social comparisons and doesn't understand how other people who half-ass their work make so much more money and have more time. It makes her feel guilty, right? So she'll get up. She'll pour a glass of water. For me, I'm going to pour myself a glass of Mountain Dew. The segment's brought to you by Mountain Dew. And she'll page through a few chapters of The Secret. They make it look so fucking easy, she says to herself. And she closes the book frustratedly. Last week, the psychiatrist said that there's nothing, she doesn't have a major disorder, but maybe she should get a second opinion because she feels like she's going crazy. How did it get to this? How did I allow myself to settle? How did I sell out my younger self for a life of settling and safety? I have so much to give and a track record for over-delivering. I know that I can be creative and smart and focused on service and in my purpose, but I'm not allowed to fully utilize it. Wait, how did I become such a victim to the universe? How did I lose my moxie? Why am I so pissed when I see others succeeding? These all started as small rumblings a few years ago. But every day, through the routine, the volume has been subtly turned louder and louder. It's now at 11. And she can't imagine, April cannot imagine getting any more deafening in the next year. But what if I take a step and make a fool of myself, she says. And why can't I be grateful for how hard I worked and for what I have right now? It makes it seem even worse. She falls asleep thinking that every day goes by is another day that she'll lose another option. Ding, ding, beep, beep. I don't know how alarms sound. The 5:30 a.m. alarm clock goes off. April wakes up and she's exhausted. So if you could relate to any aspect of April's day or know someone whom she reminds you of in your life, it's because her story is what Joseph Campbell would describe as the heroic one, where the actual longest part of the journey is the one between the head, the heart, and the gut. I argue it's a universal story that we all struggle with. So me getting on this Facebook Live is dedicated to that person who wants out of the fucking race, the person who is tired of rejecting their ideal self. It is for the person who is ready to move mountains with joy and make social change with ease, baby. And as much internal and external motivation we all have and we all talk about, this is for the person whose ideal prize isn't about motivation. It's about gaining momentum back in their life. That idea that we're growing with grace and ease and joy, and it's happening on a regular basis. It's also for the person who feels the calling to serve at a level 99. It's so unfathomable to 99% of humans that people think they're crazy. The extraordinary calling sometimes has us think we're living crazy, but we're being called to serve and not settle. For this, I created the Joy Revolution. 7 weeks. It's only 7 weeks of real-time unlearning to unlock our best selves and ecstatically improve our society. It is not a coaching program, baby. And I'm proud of that. Most people think joy is for only the privileged. It's not. And many people think social upheaval entails violence, and it doesn't have to. In this course, I'm going to present the best of positive psychology and actual theories. Yeah, I'm calling y'all out. Actual theories used by social justice movements. So run, you scummy ass internet marketers. So before becoming a coach, I taught positive psychology for over 7 years and was involved in social justice work almost my whole life. The two are the perfect couple. I can think of a couple more perfect couples, but positive psychology and social justice is like peanut butter and jelly. And if you can already see that, I don't need to give you a pain and gain model or try to convince you to take this course. So here's what we do. We start with the theory of thriving, right? And we end with creating institutions that enable positive growth. Enable positive growth. So expect some bell hooks, some positive psychology, some skateboarding videos, some surprises. I've got some really cool goodies that are going to go in your gift bag if you sign up. Some personal reflection on how to live life with no regrets, and some projects, delicious projects, 4 mini projects and 1 major projects that you will love and will improve the lives of those around you. Y'all, rigid coaches, uptight educators, and desperate fucking internet marketers won't get it. The rest of us will love it. Our unlearning starts Tuesday, September 11th. That's less than a couple hours away. So my strength is forming incredibly powerful teams, which is why I encourage you to apply and interview for some of the last spots. Be ready to come correct on your interview and follow through in the next few weeks for your sake and for goodness sake. Deadline 9/10/18. markcordone.com/junior. markcordone.com/junior. There you have it. My final call to action. Grab a slot if you can. Come correct. And thank you for those of you who listen to this. Take care.